Hello, everyone, and here we are with the artist spotlight with Alex Mack and the video walkthrough through the artworks, which Alex selected. It's going to be a lot of mountains. Get ready for that. I love all the pictures. I have to say, they're
Thank
amazing.
you.
But you'll see 10 artworks during today, and then of course, I'll share all the links in the show notes, and I'll encourage everybody to just go and explore whatever Alex is making. Alex, welcome.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you for having me. It was so great chatting the other day, and I'm really excited to kind of go through the archives with you today and what's new and what's been around for a bit.
Here we go. Let me jump into the most actual thing, which basically launched yesterday. So what should we know about it?
Yeah. So if you hit the check it out button, I think it'll actually take you to the main piece. So this is just an artist's profile. The main piece is actually a digital wearable piece. So digital wearable meaning that it's got the wearable physical piece, which is the art that I've created that goes onto this sweater. That is the main physical of the package, if that makes sense. But it's included with basically integrated with NFT technology. So not only do you get the addition of one of the panels, actually the blue panel is the one that comes as the addition. But you also get there's a patch in the arm that you can scan with your phone that pops up with all the information about the piece, the artist, Double X Detail, which is the company that's leading this, and any other details about the work and the drop and how it's come together. So I'm really stoked on it because it's the first, I guess, piece of merch or wearable piece that I've ever made. And it's also a really nice way where I've combined my watercolors and photos, which I've done in the past, but never quite like this. So yeah, that's the big one that's just come up, which I'm very stoked on.
That's awesome. And, I may be biased, but I think the price is very affordable.
I think so too.
Cool.
It's funny, like talking about pricing because of where the market's at right now. But if you look back and even going through some of my, previous editions, this is just a little bit more expensive than what editions used to be going for. And you didn't get a full sweater with previous editions. So when you put it into context, I think I'm pretty happy with what's included. And there's also a signed print on top of that. So I'm very excited about this kind of chapter of things, which is nice.
That's very cool. Does it ship worldwide or is it just US thing?
Yeah. No, it's worldwide shipping. Awesome. It takes a bit of time because they round up all the orders after the ordering period, which is the 2 weeks. And then they put them all together and then ship them out. So it won't be express shipping, but you would be able to get it worldwide, I'm quite sure.
Awesome. Well, winter is coming, autumn is here, so this is the right
cozy.
time.
Definitely. That was the goal.
Cozy mountain wearable. Pretty cool.
Thank you.
Mountain. Let's jump into the Symphony. I think it was the second piece you chose.
So this is actually, I think, my second collection on just on foundation. My first one was on foundation too, but this was after a trip. We talked about this in our chat a bit, a trip to Hawaii that I went on with a few photographers who I met through the NFT space. And we were in Kauai on the Kalalau Trail. And the day that we were fully camped out, we had 2 nights and 1 full day there at this particular spot, and the sky just opened up, and this rainbow lasted for 2 hours, and I couldn't believe it. And I actually looked back at the timestamps, and it basically started and then continued to grow over the 2 hours through the movement of these clouds, and I was yelling a lot. I was very, very excited about it.
Well, shame that there is no sound.
No, so actually what I've tried to do, I don't have the promo for this, is I include a reference to music in all of my work. So whether it's a lyrics, so I kind of wrote lyrics for this collection, whether it's the name of the piece itself, which is a reference to another song or piece of music that you can listen to while you're looking at the piece. There's always kind of
Oh,
these, Easter eggs in there, which some people notice, some people don't, or sometimes I kind of mention it. But this one was a three-part image, basically, of the three kind of stages of the rainbow. And so I put the different keys in there, so songs that you could listen to in D major would kind of go with the feeling of being there at that time.
oh. Well, so the rainbow is definitely impressive. I can totally relate to this, and I love um, sort of the verse with the picture. We just had
Hmm.
what do you say of the heart on the farmhouse today, and he was talking about writing poetry in the middle of like doing the visual arts, that it kind of
Yeah,
relaxes him. So I see, the artists are mostly multidisciplinary, even though we don't often see that because we just see, the visuals. But pretty cool. So, what about the Black Mirror? This is sort of maybe my favorite one.
thanks. It's one of my favorites too, for sure. This is actually from one of my favorite spots in the Canadian Rockies, and usually I like going to places that are less known. There are a lot of images of this place, but I was there on a quiet, perfect morning. There was barely no one there, which is very rare. And the conditions didn't really look great for a sunrise. And so I was just kind of taking it in. And I just noticed how perfect the reflection was at that time and managed to get a few photos. And funny enough, my camera lens actually broke right after that. A lens I'd had for 18 years stopped connecting right
Wow.
after I'd taken those images. So I was very, very lucky to get those. And I wrote like a smaller little verse there. It's not as big of the piece here, but the whole idea is kind of this reflection of self and reflecting while you're in these places about where you're at and how you're growing or changing with time, and um, what it means to disconnect to reconnect. So that's kind of the idea I was getting with the mirror side of things.
Yeah, this is impressive. It looks, I would say, it almost looks perfect enough for like AI image. Um,
Yeah,
but it's even more impressive that it's real.
thank you. It's such a beautiful spot. It's truly, yeah. All of these places are quite magical, so I can't really say that none of them are just okay.
Right. I have to say that on the summit, it took me a while to actually recognize that there is probably like a red tent.
Hmm. It's another like fun little Easter egg, right? I like that it was there, but it's funny, I find on Instagram, which is where a lot of photographers kind of came from prior to the space. I wasn't as active there, so there was a lot of focus on getting a human in the photo or getting a tent or something. And
Right.
when I went up to the spot, it was actually before we were going to climb that mountain that you can see in the background that day. I just had woken up early, went up the hill and saw this fog rolling in and took the photo. And I was so excited about the image in the background and the alignment with the moon that I only noticed the tent after too. But it is a really nice kind of element that ended up lining up with the image as well. So it gives you a little bit of context of how
Yeah,
quiet and peaceful it is.
totally, totally. I I have to say I noticed the moon because I don't know why, but I usually look at the sky first. But yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
the red tent is a nice hidden Easter egg. This
Yeah.
one is very
Thank you to the
colorful,
person who put it
surprisingly.
there. Yeah. This one's special because it's actually like originally it was a black and white photo that I'd taken. Um, and what you see in the coloring was basically white or very, very dark, right? And at that time, I kind of dreamed of finding a way to merge my watercolor painting with photography, but hadn't really figured out how to do it. Like I played around with some different things and nothing was really working. And that night I just started experimenting again and had an aha moment and had been doing some abstract watercolor and started kind of playing around with them, merging them in Photoshop in different ways. And it worked. And when you have those aha moments that are very rare, I was just like, it clicked. And I was like, it's working and this is cool. And I got so excited to finally have managed the experiment. Even though this might not be the best piece I ever make, it still was the first one where I felt like I'd really done a good job of tying them together. So this was my first ever watercolor photo piece. And it's not sold still, which is totally okay with me, but it was really special to have done that as part of, it's called Flannel Collective, which is quite a few abstract artists with a few photographers, but there's a lot of amazing abstract artists and painters in there. And they had really inspired me to kind of like push the envelope a little bit and see what I could come up with. So yeah, that was the origin story of my watercolors on chain.
You see, guys, so this one is still available and is the first piece of this sort from Alex. That might be worth a bit. Silver lining.
Hopefully down the line, but I'm just, you go through these rounds of being unsure of like, should you change the price, or is it like, what should I do with the market? And I'm at this point where I'm just happy and I'll just leave them until someone wants them. It's totally fine.
Yeah, I honestly think it's the best strategy.
Yeah.
Just because if you play with the price too much, it gives you a lot of stress, and it's kind of like confuses the collectors in a sense. It's like, is it going to be cheaper tomorrow? Is it going to be cheaper next month? If the price doesn't change, it's like, this is the price. You can afford it. You may want it. I mean, you want it, and can you afford it? Then bid and buy it. If you can, just look for something else. It's totally legit. I think not everybody can afford to buy art for more than a couple of dollars, couple of $100, couple of $1,000. Everybody is different, but there is plenty of
I've
other
also gotten
editions.
Oh, sorry.
No, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say I've also, there's a little bit of a lag there, so I thought there was an entry. No, I've gotten to this point too where I am even the Black Mirror piece, in that there's a set of 3 images in that one. I've just taken the price down and said it's open to offers, and I think I'd be like, at this point, I like the opportunity of having offers from different collectors and including the On Some High one. Like in my newsletter that I've put out now, basically I've said for everything but editions, I'm open to offers. So if people want to discuss an idea or a price or whatever, I like going that way rather than guesstimating what people want to spend on a piece, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. No, I think it's fair. I mean, I don't know, never actually tried, but I always assumed that kind of all artists are open to like direct offers, even though the price may be
generally
different.
I think.
But if someone wants to talk to you about the art and just basically discuss whether this can be a direct sale, I think it makes sense to talk to people for sure.
Totally.
Let me see how many we've got. Okay. So we are here. Now, I think because the time is getting a little bit tight for us.
That's totally fine.
Which one of these would you like to talk about? You can choose 2 out of the 4. Oh, wow.
Let's do the next 2.
Next 2. So Sundream and Skola.
No, sorry. The next 2. So it was
this
was the first one, Ascension, I think. It's the snowy one.
This one.
Silver Lining there. It was from the Ascension series. So Silver Lining and Long Gone, which is the following one, will be perfect.
All right, perfect. Silver Lining it is.
Yeah. So this is probably one of my favorite editions, or just favorite pieces ever. I live not too far away from Whistler, and so I spend a lot of my winters skiing rather than hiking or climbing. And this was just one of those days. I happened to have my camera gear in my backpack, but I didn't go to shoot. I was on the resort skiing with a friend, right? Who's actually another professor who does some pretty cool. We've done some pretty cool heart research together. He's an amazing skier, and he also knew that I might stop every once in a while for a photo. So I got to the top of the lift on one of them, and the sky it had been so overcast and you couldn't really see anything. And then the sky just opened up, and the light on the layers and the way the billows were looking and everything. And actually he skied that summit the next weekend. So it was kind of cool that we were there together. I just told him, I was like, I'm just going to pull off and take a shot right over here. And it worked out great. And actually, the fun Easter egg in that one is it'll take time. You won't be able to find them yet, but people can zoom in, and there's actually 4 backcountry skiers that you can find in the high res version of that image, which is pretty fun.
Ooh, okay, that's great.
Yeah.
You guys are welcome to try. I'm not gonna try on our
It'll take you a while
internet here, but definitely you're welcome to try. I am curious about this one though, since I saw there's something moving.
Yeah.
I'm curious about that one.
So this is fun. So the next kind of evolution of some of my art came in the winter, this past winter. I did a piece called Sequoia for Schiller, which are an amazing group in Web3 supporting artists and promoting art across the platform, and some of my favorite people. So I had done one of their seasons. I was one of their season 2 artists, and their theme was journey. And so I actually thought about it and came up with a way that I could animate my watercolors. And so it was a butterfly flying across a film slide of a yellow tree in the background from the mountains. And I loved making it, and it was really well received. And so I kind of started to make a series of these. And this was the most recent one I put out, called Long Gone. And this one's actually on Solana and was shown in New York or in NFT NYC this past April. So this one I was super stoked on, because it was from a really beautiful slide from a summit that we'd done earlier, I guess in the summer last year. It definitely, I painted 120 butterflies to make that thing happen. So it was definitely a lot of physical labor to make it happen. But it's a special piece to me for sure.
I was just about to ask if you had to paint just one butterfly and then it's some
Nope.
AI effects, or
Nope. I
okay.
hand painted 120 and about 6 pages worth of butterflies, and then scanned them and cut them out on the computer and transferred them and animated them. So yeah, pretty old school, but it works.
I love this one. it's amazing.
Thank you.
Totally different also.
Yeah,
Which I like.
yeah. It's still in the mountains, so it still counts, but a different kind of experience.
Yeah. So we're gonna stop here. Even though I'm gonna definitely put the links for the other artworks into the show
Thank you.
notes, guys. We got into almost 20 minutes, so it's a little bit longer than originally planned, but I guess it was definitely worth it.
Feel free to cut down whatever you want to.
Thank you very much, Alex. For this, we are not going to cut down anything. This is the whole point, to hear some stories behind the art. So we'll leave it like this. We'll cut my mumbling maybe and some pauses, but it will still be, I guess, a decent watch for everybody who likes art. So thank you very much, Alex. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and I'll see you at the next Artist Spotlight.
Bye.
Bye.